What up, YouTube? Lance Speaks back for another video. Philadelphia Eagles. They've made some moves since the last time I talked to you. So we got Vic Fangio, as we know, is coming as a new defensive line coach. The new defensive coach, defensive coordinator. They just hired a few days ago Clint Hurt to play defensive line coach. I didn't know a lot about him. I looked him up. He's been around since the early 2000s, coaching in different capacities. Initially, I believe he's from the Miami Hurricanes. That's kind of like his, his origin, first jobs, and he's been around, been with the Bears, been with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, he wasn't a great defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. So basically, we're following him up with what Sean Desai had. Blows my mind. Some of the Eagles' decisions to go to places where guys have not necessarily been very successful, to grab guys. Now, I get it. If he's a guy that Fangio knows, if it's a Fangio hire because he knows what he expects, and maybe defensive line is his key, and maybe not being a whole defensive coordinator is. Maybe he didn't have the players. I don't know what happened. I just know, for me, it's a bit of a question mark. I mean, you want to be positive and hope that he's the right guy. So I guess I go with that. Don't really have much of a choice. And it's good to hire someone, though, that you think will specialize in that. Being we've invested so much in the defensive line, in the area of draft picks and money, so you gotta give it attention. We'll see if he's the right guy. As you know, I'm not a big fan of Fangio's scheme, but we'll see. Can't be worse than the guy we had. Seth Joyner gave him some pretty good marks, and I respect the football mind of Seth Joyner. He said that one thing Fangio will do is do a good job of disguising things, which the guys we had last year were horrible at that. Desai, not good at disguising. Neither was Gannon. Gannon was very vanilla and used as an excuse oftentimes, just not having players. I've heard it all, man. Don't have guys that can play man. Don't have guys that can blitz. Even though blitzing is probably the easiest thing you could do from a defensive standpoint. It's just running through a gap and getting to a quarterback. And I mean, I never understand it, but these are the things we hear. A few other things I've heard right now after the Eagles have hired Fangio. All of a sudden, there's these reports out that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman were extremely interested in Bill Belichick. If Nick Sirianni didn't agree to all of what they wanted to do, and I've been thinking over that. I don't know how I feel about that right there. What does that mean? What is that saying? If he would agree to what? Not playing a part in anything, you would have fired him and went and got Bill Belichick? All right, so I guess what I'm doing now, I guess what we're doing now is you have a head coach who didn't have any answers last year. So your answer as an owner is, okay, myself and the president of football operations, Howie Roseman, we're going to decide, okay, look, we're going to hire offensive coordinators we want, defensive coordinators we want. And if you don't agree to that, you're fired. We're going to bring in Bill Belichick. Listen, man, I'm sorry if I'm not, your friendly neighborhood Eagles content creator. I tell you the way I see it. I give you how I feel about these moves. I'm not just a rah-rah, whatever they do, I'm with positive guy, because that's not real to me, right? I'm not that desperate for the channel to grow, to get followers, to just make money off of this, to just kowtow my opinion to what I think you want to hear. So, like, I mean, if that's what you got to do, then that's what you got to do. I'm not feeling this right here, these decisions, because to me, it's still telling me that the organization likely hasn't learned their lesson. Like I said before, Jeffrey Lurie thinks he knows the game of football. Howie Roseman thinks he knows the game of football. They believe they're football guys, never having played or anything. They believe just from watching and asking questions and observing, and I guess reading, they believe they're football guys. Now, I understand you have a head coach that doesn't have answers. I get moving the power, taking the power from him, okay? But what I don't understand is, what is the long-term plan? Okay, because this is not a long-term plan. This, to me, is just a last-gasp effort. It's either a last-gasp effort to try to make this thing work while Sirianni's under contract, okay, and doing it your way, you know, like Frank Sinatra, or it's a devious scheme to replace him with a guy that, if he succeeds, you just let Nick Sirianni go and you kind of plug him in, whether it's Fangio or whether it's Kellen Moore. A move which I don't mind. Like, if it's a lesser of the two evils or one that I prefer over the others, that one, okay? I definitely don't believe you can have a lame duck coach that you hold on to, and then every few years, if what you're doing succeeds, you have to constantly just refurbish the coordinators. I definitely don't believe in that as far as being a long-term strategy with any sort of staying power. Definitely don't believe in that. So, listen, I get it. Some of the content creators, they're just looking forward to next year. Well, next season we could do this, right? I have watched too much football, guys. Okay? I've been watching this game since the 80s, guys. You know, and understanding what I'm looking at since then. Right? I know some BS when I see it. I know something that, you know, I kind of just think I have a little insight as to what I'm looking at, and I'm not really liking what they're doing. Though I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we won't have a good season next year, right? I believe the good seasons we have ultimately will come down to the players, okay? How are you interested in Bill Belichick? But, I mean, really interested in Bill Belichick. But your first choice is to you just go out and put together some guys that you think can carry your head coach. You basically telling this guy, look, we got it, bro. Just sit down, bro. You basically telling Nick Sirianni, look, bro, sit down real quick. We got this. All right? I don't know. Then I'm hearing that Bill Belichick may be a guy they go after if next year doesn't work out. Which, I mean, okay, but why are you wasting time like that? Because by then, now you're going to be in a completely different situation. Now you're closer to when Jalen Hurts' money is really going to affect you. Now you got to decide whether or not, because A.J. Brown being the last year of his contract, so now you got to decide, am I going to repay him? Am I going to let him go? Whatever, etc. Then you got to decide, Devontae Smith's contract, you're going to pay him. I mean, I guess they're thinking about all of that. I don't know. You know, I'm just, of all the things they could do, I'm not really feeling it. Sorry, guys. You know, there's other thing here. Now, Elliott Shore-Parks, this comes from him, okay, which means much to me. Like, Elliott Shore-Parks is literally the reason I stopped listening to WIP. Okay, I used to be a WIP guy all the time. That, along with, you know, the guys are just trash now. You know, the morning show with Angelo Cataldi was, I would never say it as a place you go to for wealth of knowledge, but it was great Eagles entertainment, great Sixers entertainment, right? On Monday morning, you know you're going to hear something special, something that's going to have you cracking up, have you feeling good on the way to work, or have you laughing, right? So that's what I liked about WIP. Also liked Ike Reese, but they keep bringing up this guy, Elliot Shore Parks, man, is trying so hard to be the next Howard Eskin, who I can't stand either. Um, he just does stupid things like he started this whole thing of, tracking the quarterbacks' passing percentages and passing numbers during practices, right? Like me, if I'm niggas, I would have kicked his ass out for that. But this is the new NFL we got now. You got these guys up here tracking their practices and based on that projecting the type of season they're going to have, And the guy he just brings a lot of negativity, nonsense. He doesn't know football, doesn't know anything about the game, all right? But they bring him on like he's some expert, even though they know he isn't, right? You got Ike Reese, who played football, sitting here listening and interviewing this guy, Elliot Shore Parks, who doesn't know anything. But anyway, that's up to them, man. If their whole operation crashes and burns, that's on them, all right? They're being stupid. But anyway, Elliot Shore Parks has this tweet he puts out, I guess, from Kelce. All right, I'm going to read a little bit of it, and I'm going to tell you why it doesn't mean anything. According to Jason Kelce from Elliot Shore Parks, Sirianni coach things up in team meetings and hold people accountable better than pretty much any coach I've been around. Nick has a lot to bring of value as head coach and the organizational leadership he provides for the team. Okay. Coaches things up what? Coaches up what? Right. Let's look at this last 6 games where the Philadelphia Eagles won 5 of them. Who did he coach up and what did he coach up when the team was spiraling down? Who held people accountable where? Like, what's this accountability? What, did he just talk to you? Hey, because I'm looking on the field and I don't see guys being replaced. I saw James Bradbury get torched for a whole year. Be the guy that gets picked on constantly. And see this guy, I've seen replacements who've played better than him and still see Bradbury out there. So hold who accountable? Who's responsible for it? Is it Nick having him out there? Or is it like the owner telling him, Nick Sirianni, you don't have the power to bench Bradbury because we're playing him? Is that it? What's going on? Where's this accountability? Because if not, then if it's the ownership, then that means that Nick doesn't have the power to hold people accountable, which is another problem. Right? Accountability, what accountability looks like to me is you don't play well, you don't play. If other people are performing better than you, those other guys are going to be in there. Right? Bradbury gets torched, and he's still out there. You can't convince me this is nonsense. Nick's now, nothing against Jason Kelce, one of my favorite players, but Jason Kelce, like I said, he's a guy that's always going to stick up for the coach, always. That's why this has no value. Jason Kelce used to stick up for Chip Kelly. Listen to me, for Chip Kelly during the times when we knew Chip Kelly was wrong. When Chip Kelly was getting rid of guys like LaShawn McCoy, when Chip Kelly was getting rid of guys like Deshaun Jackson, Jason Kelce was sticking up for the coach and not for the player. All right, so Jason Kelce, though, that's my man, but when it comes to this type of thing and sticking up for coaches, it doesn't have any value to me. All right, because he's just a loyalist to the coach, loyalist to the company. That's what he is. He's never going to say anything bad about Howie, the coach, and all of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's honorable in a way, right? But it isn't something I can gather anything from. The other issue that's been going around, AJ Brown being traded. And why would the Eagles do that? This is my only question. Why would you do that? Why would you trade AJ Brown? What, money? Because you got to pay him and Devontae Smith? Well, from what I understand, Jeffrey Lurie prioritizes an elite offense. I'm trying to understand, how are you going to have an elite offense without A.J. Brown? You think the way that shit looked against Tampa Bay, you think that is potential to be elite offense? How would your offense be that different from where it was Hurts' first season? I get it. I get Devontae Smith is a better player than he was, but, I mean, you're going to have to get a better slot receiver, and you got to get a guy that can give you similar production to A.J. Brown to have an elite offense, right? Or do you think you're going to just have Devontae Smith and then try to scheme up stuff? You trust that? I don't. So, then you trade him for Patrick Surtain. I don't see the Eagles doing that because I don't think they value Surtain more than they would value A.J. Brown. You must not know the Eagles. Eagles are not going to trade A.J. Brown for Patrick Surtain. They're not going to do that. Yes, they do value corner, but not like that. Not like that. No. I just don't buy it. I would have to see it to believe it. And then if they did do that, I would be angry. Now, I get they did let Deshaun Jackson go when he had him and Macklin. So maybe, I don't know. I always assumed that was a pure Chip Kelly thing. So I don't know. Is it that they don't like the receiver complaining? Well, good luck with that sort of thing because, hello, great receivers complain. There were times where I saw Devontae Smith arguing with Nick Sirianni too. When shit is going bad and coaches don't provide answers and receiving coaches don't provide answers and quarterback is messing up and plays are being called that are stupid, great players who have self-worth and self-pride and opinions about what's going on, they talk. I expect men to be able to deal with that. I mean, unless a guy is so disrespectful to where, you can't fix it. I don't think that's the case with A.J. Brown. I mean, I don't know, but, I don't think so. And then even if that is the case, I would think you weigh the player's production versus the headache. And from what I'm seeing, there's nothing that indicates to me that A.J. Brown isn't worth it. Right, because the literal highlight of the offensive season, that was not a good offensive season. That we just witnessed. The highlight of it was that 5 or 6 game stretch where A.J. Brown put up record-breaking numbers, 125 yards per game. Okay, where he was actually being put in the MVP discussion with Tyreek Hill. Right, that little stretch. That was literally the best stretch of offense we had. To eliminate that from your offense would be tantamount to suicide and stupid. So, no, I don't buy any of the A.J. Brown being traded talk. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Then Elliott Short Parks, he puts, Eagles are currently 8th in Super Bowl odds for next season. Who cares, man? Who cares? Who cares? And Jeff McClain tweets out, A.J. Brown expresses confidence in Eagles coach Nick Sirianni. I don't think the team has any doubt. What? That's what the guy is supposed to say. What is he going to say? What's he going to say? I think my coach stinks. Well, you think he really feels that way after last season? After the way we've seen him looking at him and stuff like that, the situation where we know he's not going to be running anything, I don't think any of the players have any confidence in him. How could you? We're trying to get rid of you until, you decide to agree to all our terms. He's here because of that, according to this. So this is what we're working with, man. If best case scenario, we have a great season. Goodbye, Kellen Moore. Goodbye, Fangio. Guys get other jobs. Maybe Fangio will be here because he's an old guy. This is convenient for him. Maybe he'll be here. Maybe make him the head coach. Okay? But if you want something that is going to have some lasting staying power, I think we got to go in a different direction, man. It's just what I think, but we'll see. we'll see, man. My next video is going to be about Jalen Hurts, okay? And why Jalen Hurts is still absolutely a phenomenal quarterback and will have a great season next year, okay? He will. Possibly MVP talk next year. Or he's always an MVP talk, but possible MVP real winner next year, you know. So, it's good talking to y'all, man. Peace 'em out.